everybody. This is Dwight Peters from quarterwaters.com, the site for social entrepreneurs, where social entrepreneurs come on the program, they talk about the impact they're creating, and they share helpful business tips along the way. Now, today we're going to talk a little bit about, well, not a little bit, a lot about social media and how to use it effectively to spread the word about your social enterprise. With us today, we have one of the co-founders of socialearth.org, one of the leading sites for social entrepreneurship, Eric Lyson. Eric, welcome to the program, man.
Hey, thanks, Dwight. Glad to be here and glad to share what I've learned and enjoy the time with you.
Awesome, man. How was that intro? Was that okay? Was that on point? I don't know.
It was good. It was good. It was I don't know if I have the credibility yet to be kind of that one of the leaders in social entrepreneurship, but we've spent 3 years at it and we've learned a lot. So we're excited to share that. So.
Definitely, man. Well, I check your site out every day, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of how we met, actually. But Eric, tell our viewers that are watching, what is Social Earth? Just give them a quick background of what is Social Earth about, and what are you guys doing?
Sure. So Social Earth is a web blog which promotes social entrepreneurship. We started about 3 years ago, myself and two other co-founders, basically with the vision to promote the work of social entrepreneurs. It was early 2008. Or excuse me, 2009, and with the financial crisis and some of the troubles facing a lot of people, both in the U.S. and globally, we saw that social entrepreneurship, microfinance, Mohammed Yunus, kind of the whole movement of, hey, we can make a profit and help others, help the community, help people besides our shareholders. We really saw that as a model that's critical and one that capitalism should embrace more. And so that's kind of why we started Social Earth. And today we have 150 contributors in 25 countries, covering anything from microfinance to education and healthcare to the buy one give one movement like Tom's Shoes and other models like that. And so we're really focused on just promoting, providing a platform for social entrepreneurs to promote the good work they do.
Awesome. Over 150 contributors. I'm grateful enough to be a contributor. Just to tell our viewers the background story of how we met. Before I launched Quarter Waters, this site, the actual site, I was still trying to get the website up. I was still looking for a designer, somebody to make the site. I was on Twitter, and I was tweeting about social entrepreneurship, and I found out what you guys were doing, and I was reading your site every day, just following up, reading the great content. And it's funny because one day I was sitting down and I was like, I saw the ad on your page. Do you want to be a contributor? Do you want to be a writer? I was like, wow, this looks like a great opportunity. And then by the time I looked in my email, I got an email from you saying, hey, Dwight, we love what you're doing on Twitter. Would you like to be a contributor? That freaked me out, man. I was so, I don't even know how to explain it. That just really, really, told me to keep going with this stuff. What were you doing before that?
Yeah, so before Social Earth, I had started another company with Naomi, who is one of the co-founders of Social Earth. We worked on this for about 2 years. It was called UT.com. It's no longer in existence. It was, we started in late 2006, basically as a platform for college admissions, like a social network for college admissions. And so we raised some funding, we built a team, we brought on about 12 universities that were using our platform, from University of Iowa, University of Wisconsin, University of Minnesota. So we started that in Minneapolis while we were undergrads, raised funding, and we were seeking to raise official Series A, and it was a difficult time as venture capitalists were critical and really had their pocketbooks closed, and universities we had some paying universities. It was a subscription model, but when they started laying off employees because of the economic conditions, it was hard to justify, this new software that, was just getting going. So we had to close down, but kind of from that, that 2.5 years of starting a business, building a product, reaching out to customers, engaging with a great team, really kind of fed that entrepreneurial fire. And so kind of took a few months to kind of analyze what was going on in the marketplace, and really again saw social entrepreneurship and social good as a really great movement that I wanted to be a part of.
Awesome, awesome. So you guys learned a lot actually from failure, I guess, because that sets you up in a great position. You guys learned about the internet, and you guys just learned certain tools that you guys, I'm assuming, apply to Social Earth today.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
what?
I mean, there's, I mean, it really depends on what kind of venture you're starting, but we did learn a lot from starting, consumer internet startup. Anywhere from like how to build a great product, how to release early and often with your code, and how to bring customers on board, how to pitch to customers, how to raise capital, how to build a team, how to recruit, uh, and just the whole how to, legal frameworks, how to incorporate, how to issue shares to employees. So yeah, I mean it was the whole thing, and we definitely learned a lot, and that took those learnings and the mistakes that we made, and applied those learnings to starting this next venture.
Awesome. So back to Social Earth now. What is the impact that you guys are having? You said over 150 contributors. What is your reach?
Sure. So on a yearly basis, we get about 500,000 impressions per year, and so we that's in terms of kind of our readership. On the contributor side, so we have 150 contributors in 25 countries, and our contributors are either sometimes they're freelancers that are looking to build their online profile in
Yeah.
terms of content that they've contributed, developed, whether it's Huffington Post or Social Earth. Others are practitioners that have their own social enterprise or work for a social enterprise. And on that front, we have about 70 partnerships with different social enterprises. And so, from Ashoka to Acumen Fund, Opportunity International, we have over 70 partnerships that we work with these companies that will provide great content on Social Earth,
Yeah.
and so we seek to be that platform that helps them not only promote what they're doing, but really reach that audience, because we found that a lot of really great social enterprises will be doing some they'll be building wells in Kenya, but they don't necessarily have a big online presence, and
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know what they're doing. It's like, this is really great work, and so we want to help them tell their story and really connect with people that are passionate about this space and want to help them in ways that they can.
All right. So we're gonna find out how you guys were able to get over. I was just looking at your Facebook page. You guys have over 23,000 fans. You guys have over 15,000 followers on Twitter. You guys, are getting a large amount of views for throughout the year. Just walk us through it. How were you able to build this communities? I had Nick Astor on the program, founder of On Triple Pundit, and
Yep.
he said, Dwight, it comes down to 85% of the energy you got to put into your content. You got to put into your content. So I want to also hear your perspective on it, and what are the tools that you use to get such a large following and create a great community?
Yeah, I would have to agree with Nick. I mean, as a content site, your product is, or your content is your product. So
Yeah.
if you don't have a great product that is compelling and people learn something from and want to share, then people aren't going to return. And so having a high level and consistent content is critical. And so when we bring on contributors and other partnerships with organizations, we really look to maintain that consistency. So, but in terms of content and social, on social networks, people are looking to engage with others and engage with brands that are sharing content. I mean, content is the means in which a lot of people engage around news and information. And so, in terms of on the social networks, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, we got on Twitter pretty early,
Okay.
back in 2007, late 2007, and so this was we saw we started we created our account, we started sharing content and just connecting with others. Is key. So I mean, getting there early was key. Having an authentic voice, I think, is critical. Like, you've got to, if you're going to represent a certain viewpoint, you've got to be authentic and be consistent. Posting often is critical. If you have a Twitter feed and then you don't post for 2 weeks or a month, and I've seen that from certain organizations, they won't update their Twitter or Facebook for a month, and the people that have fanned you or liked you, they want to see consistent, content. They want to engage with you. They liked you or followed you for a reason, and they kind of granted you permission to, reach them in their newsfeed or on their Twitter homepage. And so take advantage of that and share great content. Another way in which we've built our followership is, replying and engaging with our followers. Like you mentioned, when you said you saw that Facebook ad to become a contributor,
Yeah.
we display ads that we targeted at current fans, that people that have just fans Social Earth, our fan page.
Yeah.
We'll display ads, say, hey, become a contributor, get involved, promote your voice, and so forth. And then finally, we do a lot of cross posting. So on our Twitter feed, we'll reference a lot of the contributors that are publishing content on Social Earth in the tweet. And so, we'll say, here's a great story by such and such, or by Quarter Waters. And so, it's not just promoting us, it's promoting other brands and other people. And so, we want to help people discover, great content and great people and great organizations. And that's what we try to do both on Facebook and on Twitter. It's not really about promoting Social Earth, it's about promoting all the brands and partners that we work with.
It's funny, because for my post today, I was getting a question. A couple of people came up to me and they asked me, what tactics are I'm using to spread or promote quarter orders. And I tell people, point out, I'm in a lucky position just like you, where I created a platform where other people come to tell their story. It's not about me really. It's about the great social entrepreneurs I have come on the program, and I'm just helping them spread the word. And by me helping them spread the word, they're actually helping me, because they'll tweet out, check out my interview at Quarter Orders, and that's, helping me get viewers. So it is really about, helping others out. I'm trying to bite my tongue because I want to save some of these questions for Naomi, but I'm really trying hard. But I have to ask, in the beginning, how did you get contributors at first?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, when you start, you have very little credibility,
Yeah.
very little leverage, and I mean, other sites existed that covered, some content in this space. Both, maybe, they overlapped what we wanted to do, and so initially, our founding team, we wrote the articles ourselves. We hired a team of writers. We had a team of 5 that we said, hey, we want to cover microfinance. We want to cover, social entrepreneurship. Let's find some great stories. And so we hired a team initially that contributed the articles, and we paid them, on a pay per post basis. And some of them we knew from before, and others we hired and recruited. But once we realized, hey, we're pumping out 5, 10, 15 stories a week. This is great. How can we improve this? But also, we received offers from different social entrepreneurs that said, hey, I'd love to be a guest contributor. And we thought, A, they have a really great perspective that we probably don't have, given their background and the work they're doing. And B, we can probably scale a lot faster if we open it up. I mean, not completely open platform. We don't let everyone become a contributor, but semi-open to the extent that we can scale by helping them publish their content. And so we decided to say, like, let's open this up to other contributors.
Yeah.
And from there, it really took off.
Were you guys doing this full time when you started?
So no, I guess yes, initially when we started, but Tristan had a day job, Naomi had a day job, and I started graduate school about 3 to 4 months after we started Social Earth. So initially we were able to commit 100% of our time and really build that base.
Yeah.
But the last couple of years, it's actually been nights, weekends, whenever you have free time, work on it type of venture.
Because now it's practically running itself. You guys
Yep.
get so much content. When did you realize that this is working? At what
Uh,
point did you say, yeah, this is cool. This is actually working?
I mean, when we could see that people would reach out to us about contributing consistently. We might get 10 inquiries a week, and this was probably a year or two ago, of really great contributors saying, "Hey, I'm a grad student at Oxford and I want to contribute." We're like, "Wow, this is great." Or, "Hey, I work for Ashoka and I think
Yeah.
you guys would be really interested in having this content on your site." We're like, "We would love that."
Yeah.
Just seeing that interest from people that we really respect in this space, saying, "Hey, Social Earth's doing some great things. You should check them out." Or, "Hey, I'm now contributing on Social Earth." That just, really really showed us that, hey, we're on the right path and we're providing value to this space.
All right, cool. What are some of the see? I'm trying not to ask you these questions to the viewers, because I'm gonna have Naomi, one of the other co-founders, and she's gonna come on the program and really talk more about the history of Social Earth. But I in more details. But I just have to know, like, what are some of the biggest challenges that you had in the beginning? I
Sure.
guess.
I mean,
Go ahead.
as I mentioned, when we started, we had very little leverage in the space, and so one of the biggest challenges was just getting our brand out there, our name out there, and having a position and being known and having people reply to our emails.
Yeah, I know about that. Yeah.
I mean, you send out an email and people are like, "Who is this?" and "Who's Social Earth?" and it takes a while, but we had some advisors, we had some great advisors. Sandeep
Yeah.
Ahuja, who he started Blismo now, but he's been involved in the social good space. He was involved with Kiva, and he helped them out very early on. And
Awesome.
John Bishke, who he started quite a few companies, pretty successful, serial entrepreneur that was in San Francisco as well. And we reached out to them. We flew out here for a conference and talked to both of them. And they lend their networks, as did a few other of our mentors, and said, "Hey, you guys should talk to this. You guys should answer their emails and help them out because they're doing great things." And so that helped a lot. Just working with people that had great networks that really helped us move forward and build credibility, build a following, and build a sustainable organization. Another challenge, which every organization faces, depending on their models, is just what's their business model? How
Yeah.
are you making money? How do you remain sustainable and profitable? And so on that front, one is our platform is the content that's contributed from our network is it's we're not paying for that content, so that's free. So on the cost side, our expenses are rather low, and so that's helpful that we're not shelling out money for every post.
Yeah.
And on the revenue side, we've done different things with AdWords and direct sales network, and reached out to different organizations and conferences and so forth. And we've also implemented sponsored posts, which have done pretty well. An organization that wants to promote themselves, typically it's a conference or it's a press release or other news that an organization wants to promote to people that are to our readers and people in the space, and that's worked really well. And our readers haven't said, "Hey, I don't agree with having sponsored posts," or you guys sold out. We haven't experienced any kind of backlash like that. People realize you've gotta be sustainable, and so we've done well on that front. It took a while, testing through, like, should we do lead gen, should we do advertising, Should we do sponsor post? And trial and error. And now we're at a good place with what we have running. So
Were you guys trying to monetize from the get go, or did you guys wait? Like for me, a couple of my friends asked, "Are you going to monetize this?" Say, I have no idea. Because I created a site just so I could get involved, and
yep,
because this is something I love, and the knowledge I'm getting from you and other social entrepreneurs is only helping me become a better social entrepreneur. So, I don't know. It's funny that you said, when you started to monetize the site, your viewers didn't give you any backlash, and I'm scared. I'm like, do I do that yet, or
yeah.
what do I do? What was the way that you guys went about doing it?
Yep. So I guess, I mean, on one side, it's your time is valuable, and you should you should recognize, like, hey, if I'm spending an hour, 2 hours doing this, I should be paid for it in some regard, whether it's interviewing, or like you said, like putting together great videos, like can you add sponsorships and so forth.
Yeah,
So that's one side. On the other, it's just like we were so passionate about the space and about building a brand and building a following.
yeah,
Are the key metrics that we were measuring early on weren't around revenue. It was, okay, how many page views are we getting? Are we
yeah,
growing our weekly and monthly traffic? Are we building our followers? And are we building real relationships with people that matter? And that's kind of what we were tracking early on. And then revenue comes into mind when it's like, okay, we can and should monetize this in a way that makes this sustainable. So
awesome, awesome. All
yeah.
right, man. So, in our pre-interview, we talked about, the tips for social media, and also that you want to talk about tips for startups as well. So let's
Yep.
jump into that.
Sure. So tips for startups.
Yeah, we could do tips for startups first.
Sure. I mean, I think first and foremost, I think the people matter the most for the startup. For any endeavor in which there's a lot of uncertainty, and so when you're doing a startup, there's a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and I mean, you probably know this with starting quarter waters. I mean,
Yeah,
there are going to
man.
be great days,
And there are
and
some bummy days where I'm like, yo, what am I doing, man? But it's funny because I had Eduardo from Lonesome George and Company. In that interview, every time I get low, or not low, but anytime I get a little discouraged, I watched a clip of that interview where he talks about celebrating the small wins, and that is
yep.
like my new phrase for 2012: celebrate the small wins. Pace yourself. So definitely, I know about it a lot, man. And I'm just celebrating the small wins. Anytime I get an interview, somebody say, "Yeah, I'm coming on the program," I celebrate. I'm like, as if I won $1 million, because it lets me know that there are people that support what I'm doing and they care for what I'm doing to give me an hour of their time to come on and share their experience. So definitely,
Yeah, and those highs and lows, like the peaks and valleys. I feel like early on in a startup, like the space between those two can be really short, and so it might even be hours.
yeah,
1 hour you're really high, and in 3 hours you're really low. But as things develop, as things whether it's your brand or your business model, or
yeah,
your product kind of improves and you know becomes sustainable. I feel like those peaks and valleys, the distance between those two kind of expands, and it's not as a roller coaster ride. You'll still have them, but the variance between those two is greater. But I think in those times when you're going through tough times, the people around you are what's going to matter most. And if you're down, and you don't see through the clouds, your business partners, or whoever you're working with, can really help you pull through. And so there have been countless times where whether I or another co-founder at Social Earth won't you know won't see the potential, and one of the other co-founders will be able to bring that person up. And so I just think finding great people that really work well, and are committed for the long term, and are passionate about the space they're in. So
yeah,
if you're in finance, or if you're in clean tech, or whatever you're doing, you find people that you work well with, that complement your strengths and weaknesses, and are really, willing to, see this thing through, then that's probably one of the biggest challenges, and one of the, the greatest factors for success, I think, with any startup or endeavor is the team, that the founding team. And I mean, another point kind of wrapped in that first point was, just the time horizon. Like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs especially are very optimistic.
Yeah.
uh, you want to change the world, and you want to change the world through a social enterprise that, you know helps your customers, and helps, the world at large. And you might want to change it this month, or this year, but just having a time horizon that's like, okay, this great venture is going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 years. You look at tech startups like Pandora. Pandora started, at least 10 years ago, and when no one knew, what Pandora was, who the founder was, or what they were doing. Or, Jack Dorsey at Twitter, people talk about, he would just dream about, cities, and how cities, interact and communicate, at least 10 years ago. And that was kind of his thesis for Twitter, and kind of like he was just obsessing about it. And but he thought about it. He was building a team. He was doing other things while kind of developing his hypotheses.
Yeah.
So like, it's, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, depending on what you want to build, it's going to take a long time. But it's worth it. And so just having that time horizon, and adjusting that, and just, having the expectation that, hey, if I'm going to build a great organization, it's going to take me, it's a commitment. It's going to take me 5, 10 years to do so.
Awesome. But when do you know when to quit? That's a question I hear several entrepreneurs, even myself. Like, when do you know when to quit? We are optimistic. We think we have the greatest idea, but when do you throw in the towel?
Sure. I mean, it's really hard to tell. I mean, every situation is different, and every startup is different.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're venture backed or if you're bootstrapped, there's, different steps you go through to make that decision. Um, One is like, if revenue isn't matching expenses, and let's just say, if you've spent all your personal savings, and, you've had to downgrade your expenses, maybe you've moved to decrease your personal costs and so forth, and you're at the end of the line. I mean, that's one,
Clear sign.
clear sign that, hey, this may not be working. I mean, you might be able to get, a part-time job somewhere else, and sustain it, and so forth. And that story's been told many times by entrepreneurs or actors, or other people, really pursuing their dreams. So it's that could be one that just says, hey, this isn't working out from a monetary standpoint. But I think by and large, like, if you're if you're not, if Steve Jobs in one of his videos at Stanford says, if he wakes up too many days in a row and isn't passionate about what he's doing, he needs to change something. And I think that's just from a very meta level, a great motto to live by, in terms of, stopping what you're doing, and changing your path, whether that's, staying with that startup that you've been doing and just changing direction and pivoting, or whether that's, doing a whole new startup or joining another organization. I think, like, if it's been, too many days and too many weeks in a row in which, your commitment to that vision is waning, and you're not passionate every day when you wake up. And I guess the caveat to that, though, too, is, emotions are very fleeting, and so it shouldn't be, like, one data point in time in which I'm not feeling good, therefore I will not proceed. It's it's the last 20 days, or 4 or 5 weeks have, really shown me that this is not what I should be doing. Then that's probably a better gauge than, just a few days of uphill battles.
All right, awesome. All right, cool. So what do we have next? So you talked about having a great team, making sure that's the nucleus of everything. That's the starting point of having a successful startup. What else do you have for us?
Sure. I guess the second point was around just the time horizon and being able to, you know, uh, realize that it's going to
It's not
take.
going to happen overnight.
It's not going to happen overnight, and you're going to have to you know work probably many more months or years than first you know than you first proceed. But another point is just around grit. There's a lot of books out there around the people that succeed aren't. They might not be the most intelligent. They might not be the most wealthy. They might not be the most educated.
Yeah.
There's all these factors that people say like, well, they're very educated, therefore they should succeed. But a lot of the research around success is that just pure grit. When someone turns you down, or if you're emailing to try and get a customer on board, or build a business partnership, you know it's gonna take a lot of work, and just realizing that no doesn't always mean no. And when someone turns you down, or doesn't say yes,
Yeah.
from a sales or biz dev perspective, it's in the way in which you ask that at that time to that person. Like, is there another person in our organization that would like to work with you, or is that person it was just the wrong time, or did you ask in the wrong way? Like, I don't think no ever means no. I mean, unless they're against what you're doing, but
Yeah.
gotta have grit to say like, okay, I've got to change my angle. I got to change my approach. I can, in most instances, make something work. I've just got to change how I'm approaching it, and it's.
Can you give us an example of, from your personal story of when you use grit? You mentioned before, just to get early contributors, sending out emails, not getting a response, or, not hearing or getting no's and stuff like that. But you guys stayed persistent with it. And, you guys use your network to reach out to those people, and eventually they came on the board. But can you give us another instance of when, at Social Earth, you guys had to add grit?
Sure. I think we can speak to just bringing on in terms of grit, and working with other people in terms of getting them to agree to something that we believe in, but they might not see it at first. Bringing. I mean, I won't mention the organization, but we wanted to bring an organization on board, but they already had a significant reach and brand. So they didn't necessarily see the value in working with us. And so in our initial emails, they thanked us for the opportunity, but they didn't necessarily want to proceed with what we had stated, coming on board and publishing content on Social Earth.
Yeah.
And so we would follow up with other people in the organization, and follow up with our contact there. And that didn't necessarily work, but one of our mentors knew someone in the organization. We had them reach out on our behalf, and eventually they came around where, like, that reference really spoke about our qualities and our capabilities, and really had the organization come around and said, let's pursue this. But it was a six week process. It wasn't 3-4 days. It was week after week. Like, let's we've got to get this. Let's nail it. We've got to extend our time horizon, for one, and we've got to change the way in which we're approaching this organization and our pitch. But eventually they came around. So
Awesome. Are we? I don't want to leave anything out, man. I'm trying to squeeze everything out of you because I want anybody who watches this interview to, definitely be able to leave with a great sense of great tips for their startup and great tips for using social media effectively to
sure.
to spread their word about social entrepreneurship.
Sure, I can give some kind of specific tips for that. In terms of, like, if we just look at Twitter and what we've done there, and kind of our some of the best practices, if you will,
Yeah.
for using Twitter. I mean, one is using great hashtags that are, relevant to the work you're doing. And so, the hashtag SoSent, we use, quite frequently. If you're in microfinance or, whatever vertical you're in, really finding the hashtags that matter and that people are using, and including those in your tweets. Another great way to kind of build your following is referencing others in your tweets. So, tweeting at someone is great, in terms of reciprocity and someone seeing that, hey, they tweeted me. So, the likelihood that I'll tweet them is high.
Yeah.
Another way in which you can do that is retweeting others first. Another thing that we've noticed is not only will Social Earth follow an organization, we will also list them and add them to a list, because for a lot of people they're not listed very many times, and that's just another way in which people gauge the credibility or authority of a Twitter account. And so, we'll do that to kind of raise that listed number for them, and sometimes we'll add them to multiple lists. So we've done that before. We've also participated in Twitter chats, which there's a Microfinance Monday chat that's fairly popular.
Awesome.
What's that?
No, I said that's awesome. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people will use different tools, but basically, Twitter chat's typically a half hour. It's around a topic, and there's 4 questions that are pre-composed, and people use a common hashtag to answer the question, and you'll promote it beforehand, and then you'll see you can use like tweet. I think it's like a tweetfall, or one of the ones where it's easy to just follow a certain hashtag,
All
one of the
right.
apps, and so you can follow along in the conversation. So we've done that. We've hosted a few Twitter chats. We've participated in a few Twitter chats, and that's really helped us engage with people that are really passionate about this space, and connect to new people. So that's really done helped us build our followers. And another thing we use is it's an application called Tweet Adder. So it's tweet and then it's Adder, ADDER, and it is a premium app. I mean, it's not free. It's I think it's $40 or $50, and you download the software to your computer. But it's it automates Twitter, which I don't want to say Twitter should just be bots that are tweeting again and again. But what we've done, when we if it's a holiday break, or we realize we might not be on Twitter for a while, what we can do is we can set up tweets in advance and schedule them to be tweeted at a certain time. Or if people follow us, we can pre-compose. We've pre-composed 20 or 30 replies to that new follow to
Cool.
get that instant engagement, because at that time when someone follows you is like when it's a qualified lead, if you will, depending on whatever you're doing. Like if they're willing to follow you at that moment, they're likely to also do take other actions in which both of you will benefit. So if someone follows us on Twitter, we might have an automated message that says, "Hey, thanks for following us on Twitter. Are you interested in contributing? If so, sign up here." Or after they follow us on Twitter, have an automated message say, "Awesome," just thank them, be excited, and say, "Hey, check us out on Facebook, fan us on Facebook." And so, when they take that action, we've done that with Facebook as well, but when they take that action and they like you, or they follow you, they've indicated that they like what you're doing, and they'll probably take other actions as well, like that. Like the liking you or following you is a really small ask for a brand ask of a potential reader or customer.
Yeah.
And so after that, a bigger ask is probably going to be successful. So that's what we've done with with Twitter and Tweet Adder and so forth. But in terms of Facebook, in a similar in a similar vein in terms of, asking something small from your users and then asking them to do something, more significant later on. We'll run Facebook ads, and say, we'll have our ads targeted at people that enjoy social entrepreneurship, that like social entrepreneurship, microfinance, and so forth. And so, we and this was, all in a means to build our contributor base. And so we tried two things. One was, let's just put an ad on Facebook in which the ask is big, and the ask is an ad to ask people to sign up to become a contributor, which is once you click the link, it's it's 10 fields, and it's really a commitment. Like, wow, I'm going to be a contributor. If I'm going to follow through, that's a lot of work on my behalf. So we ran that ad, and the click-through rate was very low, maybe 0.03, and our cost per acquiring a contributor was pretty high, probably like $30. On the other hand, our other angle was, with asking something small and then asking something bigger, was we just, we ran sponsored stories on Facebook, where it would, the ad on Facebook would say, Dwight Peters likes Social Earth, and then it would have our logo, our name, and a like button. And so we'd run sponsored stories and say, like us on Facebook. And so once they would like us, then we would run an ad targeted at our fan base that would say, like Social Earth, become a contributor. And so that would only show to our fans that had already liked us. And in terms of acquiring a fan, we've acquired fans for around 4 to 5 cents. And then when that ad was shown, it was already like a smaller sample size. It wasn't the 4 million people that like social entrepreneurship and social enterprise. It was the 20,000 that liked Social Earth, and the click-through rate was much higher on that ad to say, I want to become a contributor, and filling out the form. And so that big ask to everyone, that 4 million was probably about $30. That multi-step process to get contributors was probably about like $8 per contributor. And so approaching it that way, depending whether it's customers or contributors, or depending on what metrics and what you're asking of your users, the same can be said about filling out a survey. You're going to send a survey to your fan base before you just send a survey to everyone on Facebook with ads. And so that's worked well for us to build our contributor base. In terms of just building our fans on Facebook, we've kind of done two things. One is on socialearth.org. We've added our Facebook presence to multiple high traffic areas, and so on the sidebar of the site of every page, you'll see our kind of fan box where you'll see other people. I think faces matter, like in terms of popularity and so forth. People will see that and will like us. Also on every profile, or excuse me, every post, we'll have our fan page at the bottom, as well as other social integration with the like button and so forth, which just really shows people that we've got a really strong social presence and you guys can engage. And so that's helped us a lot, in terms of building our fan base, leveraging our site to get fans. In terms of on Facebook, we've done different initiatives promoting other fan pages, and so referencing those fan pages, and that's done well for us. And we've also ran ads on Facebook. The most successful being the sponsored stories, as I mentioned, which basically uses your fan base to build your fan base. And so it says name, likes, fan page. So Dwight Peters likes Social Earth, and that would only be shown to your friends and so forth. And we've ran a lot of ads like that, and we'll start with a current, with a specific base and a specific price point. So we might say 30 cents per click, and start high, and we'll get a lot of clicks, and we'll get a lot of our click-through rate will be high, which is one gauge in which Facebook has this measurement of the social ad score of your creative and of your ad, and if it's high and people are clicking through in terms of your click-through rate,
Yeah.
Facebook will put that towards the top of the queue. And so if your daily spend of say you put $10 for a day, that'll be spent quickly. The next day your ad's gonna be at the top, and so we would intentionally put a high bid initially and get a high click-through rate. And then within 48 hours we would drop it significantly, and over the next 5 days typically we'd try and drop it to where our bid would be anywhere from 6 to 8 cents, because we build up that reputation of high click-throughs early on.
Yeah.
Facebook would have our ads towards the top of the queue for the following days, whereas if you run an ad and let's say the suggested bid is 20 cents and you're putting 10 cents or 15 cents, and you're not building, the ad is shown a few times and maybe a few thousand impressions, but no one's clicking.
Yeah.
Facebook's going to deem that ad as not having a high social score, and therefore probably won't run that ad again. So we usually start above the suggested bid and then really work our bid down significantly in the 72-hour time period since it's been live.
So far, I just jumped in last week. I think, yeah, I just started with Facebook ads for the first time. I had no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to read up on it, but now getting this information from you, I know exactly I'm going to go back and probably tweak a few things. So far, it's working. I don't know, like I threw in, because on Facebook, you have two different ways of paying for it. I guess you have a daily amount that you can use, and they have something called a lifetime amount. And I think I threw in like $50 just to test it out for the lifetime. I think it lasts a month. And the first few days, nothing. Then in one day, I got like 120 likes overnight. Like every second I'm looking at my phone, it's just likes, 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 likes. I'm like, holy crap. And I still don't even know what I'm doing. I just put up an ad, and I keep tweaking the ad, trying to, make it sound very persuasive. I think it goes something like, do you want to change the world? Join now, become a change maker. Something simple like that. Just click like. So I'm definitely going to take some of the tips that you're talking about now and, reapply it.
Yeah, and another, and you've probably read this, and the people that are watching this will probably have read this as well. But in terms of the actual ad, the shorter the copy, the better. I've noticed.
Yeah.
The click-through rate will be significantly higher depending on how short the ad is. So if it's 3 words, 5 words, that's ideal. If your ad is 4 or 5 lines, I've noticed click-through rates being very low. People won't read that much. And other things in terms of the actual ad, like the image you're using, people's faces work really well for click-through rates. There's a lot of different Facebook white papers in terms of like what ads work best. But those shorter copy and images with faces of people, or for us when we do sponsored ads, our logo appears, the SE, which people have already seen, and so it's they've already recognized it, and so therefore the click-through rate is higher for that. Another thing in terms of decreasing your cost per fan and increasing your click-through rate is we've done a lot of when they click that ad, and it's an ad in which people are trying to drive fans, so that it's internal to Facebook, is not having that person land on your wall, but on a landing tab, just like a landing page for a website, and having a strong call to action. We've done that quite a bit, and we've run different landing tabs based on our ad campaigns. And so if we're on an ad campaign based on geography, and so we're targeting people that love social entrepreneurship in the UK, and we have a specific landing tab for that, or if it's by topic, and so it's people that are interested in microfinance, and the landing tab for that, we've noticed spending the time really will drive our click-through rates much higher. For your fans, if if they want to check out Good, Facebook.com/Good Inc. They've got a very, clear call to action on their welcome tab, which, for starters, I think is great. It's just, it makes it very, very simple what you're asking from that potential fan.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna apply this stuff as soon as I get off the call with you, because that's something I really try to focus on, building a community, and these are the tips to do it.
Yeah. And another thing, and I'm sure you've done this, but it's just, with the open graph on your website is implementing the like button.
Yeah.
Uh, and in a way that, the like button, each of those pages have the power of fan pages, and so you can retarget, which we've done before, and is pretty powerful. So if we've had 200 people like a post that we've published, maybe it's like one of our posts talks about the top 140 ways to fund your social enterprise.
Yeah.
We've got a couple hundred people that have liked it, and so we've retargeted them essentially by posting a status update through that page, which functions just like a fan page on Facebook. It can be even more targeted. So
awesome. All right. I don't want to leave anything out. Is there anything we're overlooking?
I mean, we can. I can send you a few different white papers and so forth and research reports that if you want to add those to this video, to the post, that people can download, that might be that helpful as well, because some people have read this, some people haven't, but that might be a great way for people just to learn more about what we're talking about.
Awesome, we'll do. So when anybody that retweets this, once we go live, once I post this, anybody that retweets this, I'll shoot them an email with this stuff. They could just send me an email. If anybody leaves a comment below, I'll send them an email with all this great content. Eric, anything else, man? Once again, man, you guys are doing a kick-ass job. I'm truly glad to be a part of this community, man. Any last words for any social entrepreneurs watching this program?
Just go out there and do it. Stay committed. Again, have a long time frame in mind, and celebrate the small wins is a great motto. So
there we go, man. Eric, thanks for coming on the program, man.
Thanks again, Dwight. Have a good day.
All right, you too, man.